Good morning, students. I am sure you all must be hale and hearty. Today we are going to start 3.4 The Brook, a wonderful poem written by Alfred Lord Tennyson. Before that, let us move towards today's thought. You are not a drop in the ocean, you are the entire ocean in a drop. The meaning of the thought is you are crafted with the intelligence of the entire universe. Now, this is a brook. Before we start the entire poem, let us know more about the poet. Alfred Lord Tennyson was born on 6th of August 1809 and died on 6th of October 1892. He was a poet laureate of Great Britain and Ireland during much of Queen Victoria's reign and remains one of the most popular British poets. Tennyson excelled at penning short lyrics such as break, 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 crossing the bar, etc. Now, what do you mean by poet laureate? He was an eminent poet appointed as a member of the British royal household. He is formally expected to write poems in celebration of court and national events. So, children, take out your textbook, page number 68, have pencil in your hand. So, what do you mean by brook? Brook is a small natural stream of fresh water. It is nothing but a rivulet, a smaller river that finally meets a bigger river. The brook itself in this poem is talking about its journey, that is from where it starts and where it ends its journey or meets the river. In this poem, lot of prepositions are used. Here there is a particular rhyme scheme to the poem. Various sounds produced by water are also mentioned here. So the whole poem is personification as the brook it's talking about its own journey. Now let us read the poem. I come from haunts of Coot and Hun, I make a sudden sally and sparkle out among the fun to bicker down a valley. Now what do you mean by haunts? I come. I means brook here. You must make it sure that it is the brook itself is talking to us. So I is brook. I come from haunts of Coot and Hun. So the brook comes from haunts of Coot and Hun. Haunts is the place which is often visited. Is called as haunt. So who visits this place? Coot and Hun. Now Coot and Hun are water birds. Hun is heron. So Coot and Hun are water birds. Now we are going to see the picture of Coot and Hun. Now see the picture how the coot bird looks like. It lives in water. So this is a picture of the bird coot. So brook starts from here. It comes from the place where the coot resides. Even the Hun, this is heron. So this bird, that means I come from haunts of Coot and Hun means the place which is visited by these water birds Coot and Hun. I come from there. So I am sure now the picture of Coot and Hun is clear to you. So I come from haunts of Coot and Hun. It begins its journey from the place which is visited by water birds. I make a sudden sally. Now sally means very quick movement. I make a sudden sally and sparkle out among the fern. Why it is sparkling? See, sun rays fail on the water and hence it shines or twinkles out among the fern. Now fern is a non-flowery plant. I am going to show you the picture of fern as well. To bicker down a valley. Now what do you mean by bicker? It makes noisy sound. To bicker down a valley. Now this noisy sound produced when it flows from valley. Let us see the picture of fern and valley. Now you can see very clearly what is fern. This is a non-flowering plant and it must be taught already in your science where you have seen the classification non-flowering plants. You must all have seen the fern. So this is the picture of fern and it passes even through a valley. Got it? So I come from haunts of Coot and Hun, I make a sudden sally and sparkle out among the fern to bicker down a valley. So the narrator of the poem, the brook, takes along its course. It narrates that it begins from the places often visited by Coot and Hun. It makes noise while coming down the valley. And the sunlight makes the brook's water sparkle as it flows among the fun. Now let us move towards next paragraph. Till the time we go into the next paragraph, can you find the rhyming words in the first paragraph? It is Hern, fun, and Sally, valley, and this suggests the rhyme scheme. A, that is Hern, B, that is Sally. Again fun rhymes with Hern, and so it is A, and valley rhymes with Sally. So the rhyme scheme of the first paragraph is A, B, and you will find the same rhyme scheme throughout the poem. Got it? Now let us move towards the next paragraph. By 30 hills I hurry down or slip between the ridges. By 20 thops a little town and half a hundred bridges. So what the book says, by 30 hills I hurry down. By 30 hills. So the number 30 and 20, it is just a number. It has not counted literally, just to tell you how many, just you can understand that it passes through many hills. To tell you that it passes through many hills, they have just given a number, but they are not counted literally. So by 30 hills I hurry down. I hurry down means it comes down. Just to tell you that from various places it is passing down, it says that by 30 hills I hurry down. I pass hurriedly through 30 hills or slip between the ridges. Now ridge is a narrow area between mountains. So or slip between the ridges. So ridges, between the ridges it is passing through the ridges by 20 thops. Now thorp is an old English usage word which means village. So old English word for a village is thops. I am going to show you the picture of a thorp as well. So by 20 thops a little town, it does not really mean that the brook has counted that she is passing through 20 villages. It's a number to show you that it is passing through many villages. By 20 thops, after that it passes through a little town. So town is little bigger than a thorp. And half a hundred bridges. So half of 100 is 50 bridges. Do you really think it has counted that 1, 2, 3, 4 and 50? No, not literally, but to show you that it passes through many bridges, the term is used half a hundred bridges. So let us see the picture of thops and bridges first. Now this picture would give you an idea that thops is a small village. So it passes through this thops, various small villages, and then it passes through many bridges. You all must have got the experience of traveling, and you all must have seen various bridges and water passing under it. That also you all must have experienced. Till last by Philip's farm I flow to join the brimming river, for men may come and men may go, but I go on forever. Now in the third paragraph what it says, till last by Philip's farm I flow. Now Philip is just a symbolic name to show that it is passing through someone's farm. So till last by Philip's farm, now finally it passes through Philip's farm I flow to join the brimming river. Final destination क्या है? Brimming river. Brimming is overflowing. It further states that men are transient. But before that, if you would like to see the picture of a brimming river, let us see the picture. Now this is brimming river, to be full to the point of overflowing. So finally this is the place where the brook comes and meets. So what the brook says, finally it passes by Philip's farm and joins the overflowing river. For men may come and men may go, but I go on forever. For men may go and men may come and men may go means for men are mortal who has taken birth and who are going to die. It means that the nature is immortal, whereas men means humans are mortal. Men are born and will die, but nature is eternal. To tell this, it states that the river may dry, but it will brim again. It will be full of water once again, but men are mortal. So till now what we have seen, the brook flows past the dwellings of Coot and Hern, the place where they live, the ferns, a non-flowering plant, a town, 20 thops, a valley, hills, ridges, several bridges and Philip's farm. Now see the next paragraph. I chatter over stony ways in little sharps and trebles. I bubble into aiding bays. I babble on the pebbles. Now what happens is, I means it's a brook. It chatters over stony ways. Now, chatter as the brook flows over, it makes a chattering musical noise as it travels over stony paths. Now, sharp and trebles is musical sounds. So, I chatter over stony ways. It makes a chattering musical noise as it travels by over the stony paths. I bubble into aiding bays. I babble on the pebbles. So it travels in bubbles, in fast moving circles of water. You all must have seen just a phase this panever. Similarly, it travels in bubbles in fast moving circles of water. And bays, or it noisily travels over pebbles. Now aiding is move in a circular way, and babble is to make sound of water flowing over stones. See, as the brook flows over pebbles, small stones, the sound it makes is similar to that is made while talking very rapidly, and hence it is said that I babble on the pebbles. So I think it is very clear that what the paragraph suggests, that it makes a chattering musical noise as it travels over stony paths. It travels in bubbles in fast moving circles of water near bays, or it noisily travels over pebbles. In short, it creates a lot of bubbles and noise while swirling around an obstacle. What happens next, how is the journey of the brook, we are going to see in our next class. Till then, you have to read the poem many times, underline the new words, see the rhyme scheme and tune the poem. Got it? And don't forget to take care. Till then, bye. Thank you so much.